Hello, everyone. I'm very pleased to be with you today. Thank you to Impact, giving us the opportunity to speak to you today. What I wanted to share with you today is some, feedback from what we've been doing, for the past 2 years in terms of open innovation and cooperation with startups. What I'm going to do is not, give lessons, or I just want to share, things which have worked and things which failed, but also we're learning from failures, and that's also something that big corporations, are learning from startups. Learn from fail fast, and learn from our failures to improve what we do. So before to get into some of the specific, acceleration programs we've been doing in France and also in Europe, just wanted to share with you some ideas and why we're doing this. We're not doing, open innovation or startup cooperation because it is hype or because it is nice to startups and because we are angels. We're not angels, we're doing business, and the startups are doing business and corporate are doing business. So what we see actually in BNP and other big corporations is very simple fact that innovation will not come only from employees or from internal projects or internal innovation. We need, in a very complex and interconnected world, to work with other partners, other corporations, but of course with startups. And facing this very simple issues, I think we have entered in a new era where we started by kind of a startup bashing. We know after we went into a new era where there was the I would say the honeymoon era. Now we're entering an era where we want to do very concrete and very very concrete things and do business with cooperation. And why we need to do that is we need to gain agility, we need to speed up decisions, and to do that, to adapt ourselves to this digital world, we need to learn and to do things like startups do, And the best way to do that is not to, go to academics, it's just to work with startups and learn, from them how they do and how they execute. So just, two very simple quotes, from our CEO, actually, and also from Sébastien Bazin, the Accor CEO. And what I like about, Sébastien Bazin's quote, actually, everyone can have ideas. We all have ideas. We all have very good ideas, okay? But the issue is really how we're going to execute those ideas, okay? And to execute fast and efficient and really try to focus on the customer journey and try to solve a pain point or a difficult issue that we were not able to solve so far. So I like this slide. We're not going to go through this. Basically, it's a very good way really to see what we can learn from startups. What I like also is the ability for a startup to really focus, a fintech, to really focus on a specific pain point of a customer journey. Just a quick example is like, you all know N26, this German, fintech, which is expanding in Europe right now. What they've been doing is very simple. They're just, just addressing one key issue and key pain point of the customer journey. You can onboard and open an account, fully digitized process in less than 8 minutes. And they really are focusing, on this pain point, and really, they're really addressing a customer pain. So also, the ability, that was my word, as a preliminary word, the ability to test things, to fail, learn, and start again. So, for the past 2 years, we've been working on very concrete initiatives at BNP Paribas to really leverage this very rich ecosystem in various countries, where we do business. We do business in 80 countries in the world, okay, and including in Poland, with BGZ, the BNP subsidiary. And we've been trying to focus on very simple things. The first thing, is that we wanted to be well connected to the local ecosystem, like the one here in Poland. Okay, and to do that, we even if we had businesses going on, in various countries, we wanted to make sure that we were able to connect to the local ecosystem, meaning that we can source startups, we can meet startups, we can exchange on our priorities, okay, and we can partner with some, accelerate partners like, accelerators, incubators, or even VC. So right now we make sure that we have this, worldwide network to source ideas in one place, and we can sometimes expand those, ideas and those startup cooperation in other countries. The second thing that we have started to do is to do what we call strategic investment. It means that it's not M&A. The issue is not to acquire, 100% of the of a fintech or a startup. The idea is to be able to do two things: is to invest in vertical, in dedicated technological funds, in AI, in IoT, or data. Any kind of technologies that we need for our own digital transformation. But also we want to invest directly into some startups, okay, and take some equity just to help the commercial development when we have started. Usually what we do a proof of concept. I will get back to that in a minute, okay. And if the proof of concept is successful, okay, we want to move to a production phase, okay. And sometimes it's a way for us to finance the commercial development through equity. Third initiative we've been taking is to have global partnerships with major key players in acceleration. We signed last year a global agreement with Plug and Play, which is an Silicon Valley-based accelerator, one of the first one actually. And we also have decided to have a dedicated and specific acceleration program in France, and I will explain that in a minute. And also, we had a very interesting presentation this morning on the main stage on PSD2 and also on the API economy. Of course, if we want to leverage startups, new services, new technologies, we need, of course, to be able to connect to the startups, and the startups need to be able to connect to our IT platforms. So we're working, of course, on APIs, like I guess all the other banks. But what we have decided to do is to make your life, to make the startup life easier, meaning that those startups, will be able to search for, select, and use some of the APIs that we're going to offer to the market, and we will be able to really co-innovate to get together. Few words about Plug and Play. So Plug and Play is a major accelerator based in the Silicon Valley. They have started more than 10 years ago. Actually, for the history, the founder Saïd Hamidi was one of the first investors in a very small company founded by Larry Page and Sergey Brin. He hosted this company called Google in his first incubator more than 10 years ago. And what they do, actually, we started, to cooperate 2 years ago through our U.S. subsidiary in California, Bank West, and that was a way for us to see, the value of having this middleman, okay, sourcing, startups and helping corporations like us, to be more agile and work efficiently with the startups. So of course, they have a lot of various verticals. Of course, we're really focusing on the fintech, insurtech, verticals, and of course, it allows us to access their world network, and of course, to identify the best startups we want to work with. Oh, don't see the map. Let's skip this. We had some font issue. I'm sorry. So what we do, we have decided also in France to launch an international acceleration program. I don't know if you know that, but we have there's a new place in Paris called Station F, which has been founded by the telecom tycoon Xavier Niel. Okay, this is the largest place in the world for incubation acceleration. It's 30,000 square meters. They opened, last September. So we have decided to have a dedicated fintech and insurtech, acceleration program in Paris, okay, with Plug and Play, and we have located this acceleration program, in Station F. So what we do 2 batches per year, okay, and it is very, very concrete. We're not here to do, PR things, and buzz. We're here to work with you and to make concrete things and proof of concept. The way we work, we have 2 batches, 12 weeks. We accelerate, 10 startups, roughly, and we work with all the business lines. And the business lines, they give us their challenges, their pain point issue. They want to find a solution for, okay, and we try, of course, to source the best startup to do that. And the business line commit themselves, okay, to do a proof of concept in less than 12 weeks, which is a very short period of time for a bank. Not for a startup, but for a bank. And we commit, each business line, and we have in each business line a top management sponsor, okay, who is responsible for the success of the proof of concept. So people are incentivized, to make real things and to deliver. Of course, not all the parks, will go into production phase, because sometimes, it doesn't, meet our requirement. That's not the way. The business model is not the right business model for the startups. So even if we don't succeed, we learn. The startup learns. Okay, and most of the time, the startups are able to test their application, their algorithm, on very high quality data that we can provide. So we had 2 batches. Actually, we just finished, the batch number 2 last week. And we're very happy about the rate of proof of concept that are going to move into production phase. We reach 50%, which is very high. And again, the other POC doesn't mean that it's a failure. It's just, things will maybe pivot. For some startups, we're going to do another proof of concept because the first one was not successful. So we're going to test, their solution differently. So and that's the KPI, from the batch 1. Also, what we bring to those startups is, of course, our network, our expertise on very specific subjects like, compliance, regulation, but also we can mobilize Plug and Play and BNP network to help those startups to raise money, to improve their business model, to improve their pitches, and it's a real cooperation. It's a win-win situation. Right now, we're not really addressing, early stage. We're addressing, more later stage startups because we want, a running platform. We want a running solution. We really want to test things. Maybe later we'll work also with earlier stage startups. But we really wanted also to for our business line and the BNP employees to learn how to do that. So start to work with early stage was a little difficult. So we'd rather start with later stage companies to make sure that we can improve internally the way we do work with you. This slide is too complex, too many things. Just also to tell you that also we realize that we're a very big company, and we've been doing also things to make our relationships with startups easier. For example, we don't give you a 100-pages contract, in a very small font. It's a 3 pages POC contract, 3 pages. We commit ourselves to pay you in a very short period of time. So we have a startup engagement kit where we make everything possible to really focus on our business, your business, and try not to spend too many times in endless meetings, that do not bring anything, to both parties. Just to give you another example, we put together a startup relationship management because what we were facing, actually, what the startups were facing is meeting, having, 10 meetings, 20 meetings with BNP Paribas and some of our business lines, which did not know that such and such business line, had already a meeting with the startups. So startups were losing time, wasting time. Okay, now we are able to know who has been met, what was the feedback. So we improve our relationship and we reduce the onboarding time for all the projects. So this is just an example in Paris. It is an international program. We saw some startups, roughly we have 50% of the startups, coming from outside France and outside Europe. So 31 seconds. So I'm just going to conclude very quickly. We have other, acceleration programs. We've just, finished one in Southern Africa with another, partner. And really, all the idea for us is really to improve ourselves and to make this cooperation very efficient and deliver business to startups and improve customer journey, internal processes, and things like this. Thank you, and I think I'm just right on time. It's, well, boom, 0. Thank you for your time.